What's up guys, welcome back to part number 2 of my 737 build. Now, last week we worked on putting the windows and getting the fuselage together. This week we're going to work on the main seam along the top and getting it ready for paint and prime next week. So, spoiler alert, I picked my theme. I'm going with a beautiful American Airlines Yola scheme, the polished aluminum, a little bit weathered up, beaten up kind of look, which is what we're going for in this build. So let's go ahead and get started. Hey, welcome back. So let's get going with part 2. So we left part 1 in this condition. So we got the fuselage put together and got the windows filled. And now we're going to carry on with that. But first of all, we're just going to take care of the wings first. So we started step 2, if you remember. So now we're going to take a step back and go step 1. So basically this guy right here, which I already cut off and took care of all the, there's tons of like attachment points you have to kind of sand very gently. You don't dig into it. Just get rid of those attachment points. And there was quite a few ejection pins in here too. Not that you're going to see it because right inside the wheel well underneath the aircraft, but I did give it a little bit of sand just to kind of clean it out a little bit. So what we're going to do is, note here is that there's 2 parts that go in here. There's this groove that you can see there's like right here, and it basically just kind of sits in like that and sits flush with the corner of the 2 kind of the wheel bit or the main gear bay. So I'm just going to take my extra thin cement and just dab it and let it kind of run down and it'll stick. So that's that side done, and then on the other side you have again a little, see a little bit kind of point for the pin to go into, and it sits back against flush with the side there. And that is it. So that's that part. And then, okay, now we're going to have the wings. And it's basically just going to clip right up on top like this. And that's why it's so important to clean these edges so it fits in nicely. So it's going to fit in like that. So I'm just going to grab a couple of like pegs, basically plastic clothes pegs. Then we're just going to glue it. Okay. So what I've done is I've used my white top cement to stick it down, then using extra thin bead to go around the edges. I don't even need any clips on that. So that one's done. And this guy, hitting my like that. So that's the wing section done. So I'm just going to head and let this dry, put to the side, and then we'll bring the fuselage back and we'll get going on that one. Alright, so here's the fuselage. To be honest, I gave it a little bit of a sand with a sanding sponge, and it's pretty cool. I mean, I don't think it needs much work. I mean, you could prime that and probably paint it and you'd be good to go, but I'm a little bit perfectionist. I just want to get this a little bit better to make it perfectly seamless. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out my sprue goo. You probably hear this a lot on the internet. Basically all it is Tamiya extra thin, and you add some plasticard. So I added, this is 0.4, this is 1 mil thick, and I added about that, so about an inch worth. Cut it up and cut it into little pieces, and you throw it into here, leave it overnight, and it will dissolve to make like a nice kind of putty. So it's cool because it's kind of like, also, not only is that putty bit, it's also glue too, so it really helps make that seam line and seam really strong, so it's not going to bust open or anything. So all you can basically do is just paint it on the seam, and it's going to dry, and it's got that plastic card in there which gives it the plastic filling properties. And I think the key is using the plastic card and not like old sprue. I think it just gives a better quality finish for some reason. So I'm just going to run down the whole seam, top and bottom, with this stuff. a little bit more where I need it. Again, this doesn't need much at all. It's looking really good. So just going to dollop it all on, and then we're going to let it dry for a couple of hours and come back, and we're going to basically sand it all away, and hopefully it will leave us this nice seamless finish. So normally with these kind of things I probably need a few different concoctions to get it perfect, but we'll see how we go. So I'll get going with this one. We'll sand it back, see how it looks, and if not, we'll come back with some extra stuff. Okay, so here we are. Looking really good, I think. I think we seamless pretty much on the top and bottom. So that sprue glue, I just sanded it off, and then with a sanding sponge, came back and took care of it. And then again with this guy, the finishing kind of buffer, just get rid of any scratches and stuff. Because well, yeah. So we're looking good. So one thing I'll show to you guys too is I've done the wing section, and look at this refit. Oh, that is pretty much seamless. Oh, there's a bit of junk on the bottom here. For me, that is, yeah, like I said, seamless. The way the wings are and stuff, perfect fit. So what that means for us is I can paint this separately and paint this separately, and then at the end, once I decal and stuff and paint it, obviously, we'll marry these up and glue it in. It should be good to go. So that's going to save us a little bit of masking and make things a little bit easier with painting. So yeah, wow, you can't get any better than that. Look, perfect fit. So like I said, I'm going to paint this guy, and then we'll bring these guys together at the end. And again, that will make things a whole bunch easy for us. But I won't know for sure if this is good until we'll get some primer down. So let me look for the instructions. I think there may be a few little lumps and bumps when you put on here. And then what I'd do is then we'll look at getting some primer, and then we can really check out the fuselage and see if any more work needs to be done. But yeah, looking really nicely. All right, I'll be right back. All right, so on this guy, actually all we added was the rudder and the little bit at the back here, this back part. And that was all we had to add. There's a couple of aerials that go on here and the lights and stuff, but obviously we want to paint all this and get it done first and add the aerials at the very end, because otherwise they'll just snap off. But a little bit more work on this guy. So we added the sharklets, or the winglets, should I say. There's a little part that goes in here. You see there, I lost the carpet monster, had its daily dose and took that part for the left side of the wing. So a little bit of plastic card glued in and just sanded down, and we're good to go. Once it's painted, you won't notice it. So I did add these guys on the bottom, the 6 on the bottom, and obviously the engines go in these 2 gaps right here at the very end. But yeah, we're looking good. Sorry, I thought I had a little bit of a bump on that, but yeah, we're looking good for paint and prime. So I'm going to end the video right now. Perfect way to stop. When we come back next time, we'll prep this primed up. We're going to do some post shading, because as you know, I don't like shiny. I always like to do weathering. So we're definitely going to weather this guy up. It's going to be a worn light jet that's flown in and out of Dallas Fort Worth, 10 times a day for 20 years. It's going to have some grime, it's going to have some dirt, it's not going to be shiny. So we're going to do our usual shadow coating and some pre-shading, and come back now with the metallics and get this polished aluminum finish and the Boeing for the wings. Just a quick heads up, the Boeing color is the Boeing gray. I did some research, and it should be Voodoo Grey Model Masters, which actually discontinued and you can't buy it anymore. I do have a couple of bottles somewhere, but also looking online, looks like I do have this already. Looks like H338 from Mr. Hot Guns Old Lacquer version, H338 Light Grey, which is FS36495, is a perfect color for Boeing Grey. And looking at the color here in the jar, it actually does look perfect. So that will be the color we use for the Boeing, for the Boeing Grey color we use. To offset the metallic. But yeah, there we go. So really happy how this guy's turning out. I think it's going to look really good. Once we get the priming on, we'll obviously see how we go. If it needs to do any more, we'll do that. But I don't think we might. Hopefully, we don't need to. But it's going to look really good. And look, interesting how those windows go too, because obviously use that nully pup from the outside. And I'm interested to see how it will look again once we've got that primed up and stuff. All right, cool. Well, as always, have a great week, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.